All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Healthy Living event sponsored by the Juice Plus community. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Carol Turnbow. I'm a qualifying senior sales coordinator with the Juice Plus company. I'm also a CrossFit coach. I'm a CrossFit Masters athlete. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I'm a mama, which is one of my favorite things to be. But my passion is nutrition and teaching people that food really does heal. So tonight you're going to be hearing from myself and some of my teammates. We've all joined on a mission of inspiring healthy living around the world. And I'm going to start by introducing our product line. Our product line is simple and will continue to be simple because it's food. It's food that our body needs on a daily basis. Juice Plus has figured out how to put fruits and vegetables in a capsule. I'm going to start by showing you what we call our quad or our core 4. In those 4 bottles, we have fruits, vegetables, and berry blend. These are 100% plant-based all the way down to the capsule. They're better than organic, non-GMO, picked at the peak of ripeness with an NSF seal of approval. And what that means is that what is in the product is on the label. So if you look at our berry label, for example, we've got, you guys can't read it, but I'm going to read it to you. Raspberry, bilberry, blueberry, cranberry, pomegranate. So what's on that label is what's in the product. We also have a nutrition label, which is why I fell in love with the product. This is not a supplement. This is food in a capsule. So it's really important to remember that. We also have our full spectrum of plant-based omegas. Okay, you've all heard of omega-3s. Our omega blend is 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. Like I said, it's a full spectrum of plant-based. So Juice Plus has cut out the middleman and went straight to what the fish eat. So we get omega-3s from the fish. The fish are actually eating algae to get their omegas. So we just went and got our omega blend from algae oil, pomegranate seed oil, tomato seed oil. So it's a completely plant-based. I love this all 4 of them together. Makes you feel so amazing. We also have complete protein powder. Also 100% vegan, plant-based. We have complete bars, and we have a tower garden. It's an aeroponic growing system where you can grow your vegetables on your back porch. You can grow them in your kitchen with LED lights. You can put it anywhere. I grew my first tower this summer out on my back porch. I'm getting ready to clean it off. It's getting cold here in Indiana. I'm going to clean it off, scrub it, and replant it and bring it in the house for the winter. So I'm going to have fresh vegetables, herbs, plants all year long. Super excited about that. So that's our product line. Like I said, it's simple. We have a few products. And tonight we have an awesome team of speakers. Andrea Laplante is our national marketing director that has brought her team of people here tonight to share their stories. So I'm super excited to introduce her. Welcome to the call. Welcome your team to the call. And go ahead and let us start sharing, Andrea.
Thanks, Carol. Hi, everybody. My name is Andrea Laplante. As Carol said, I'm a national marketing director. I've been sharing Juice Plus for about 10 years now. And I'll share a little bit about why I came to this, but I also want to tell you, I'm so excited for you all to hear my team's stories, because you'll really be blown away at the impact that people can make when they come together for a purpose to make change and create change and just to do good in the world. So I'm also a mom of 3 active athletic children. I married an athlete. I was an athlete. But I had a corporate career prior to this journey that I'm on now. I worked for Fox Sports for 8 years before I had my kids. And, I was a career mom, well, career mode, actually. And then after I had my 3 children, my husband started traveling. He's been traveling about 25 years. So at times with 3 little ones, it felt like being a single mom with him always on the road. So at one point, I had 3 kids age 5 and under, and my middle child overdosed on isolated vitamin supplements, which were recommended by my pediatrician, which I'm sure many of you have heard, and they're on the shelves in stores, supplement label, isolated vitamins. And I thought I was doing the right thing by listening to my pediatrician. And my mother's a nurse, and she's going to be sharing tonight as well. But I grew up with a nurse in my home. And one of the things that we talk about today is how nutrition wasn't talked about in medical school or nursing school. And in my family growing up, we would eat oranges as snacks, and whole food was and prevention was talked about. But there was a missing link with the whole nutritional component. As an athlete, I really missed the mark on that. But after my son overdosed, I started researching. In 2008, there were over 51,000 calls made to poison control centers for overdoses on isolated vitamins, and some of those were fatalities. And I'm just here to say I'm so lucky my son's okay, and he's thriving now, but it was a huge wake-up call for me. I started researching our food supply, looking into why people are eating vitamins in the first place. Why do we have deficiencies in our health? What is our standard American diet? Why do people have chronic disease? Why are our children getting early onset adult diseases? Why? And I really felt like I was a detective trying to get all these answers, but I was frustrated, and I was trying to chop and slice and get as many plants in my family's diet as I could. And after my son overdosed, he became probably one of the pickiest eaters, so I can relate to any of those moms with picky eaters. But I felt at a loss that I couldn't get the nutrition into them that I needed, chopping and slicing and getting them to eat raw food at breakfast, lunch, dinner. It was very daunting. So I was looking for nutritional support for my family. I was looking for clean, whole food. I was looking for an option for a shake that wasn't whey-based. I was looking for answers. I was frustrated, and one day I walked into my gym, and there was a brochure for whole food concentrates and capsules and chews, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is the answer to my prayers. This is exactly, where has this been? Why haven't I heard of this? So I was so eager to get this into my family. When I turned it around, saw Nutrition Facts label, I saw NSF certification. I realized it was higher than quality than organic. I started looking into the farming practices, the sustainability approach, and I thought, what a dream to have plants that our ancestors, grandparents would have grown, that we can have shipped right to our doorstep, and it can get absorbed readily into my family without a child safety lock, without a poison control number, without a warning label. I can eat it if I'm pregnant, or if I'm an elderly person, or a 6-month-old baby. And it just made sense, and I felt like I needed to share this and scream this from the rooftops. I had no idea there was a business attached. I really didn't know what this was. I had a corporate background. But what I started doing was picking up the phone and sharing with everyone I knew, because I was so passionate. If people knew that they could flood their body with this nutrition, this clean food, they could start healing their body with plants, and we could educate communities and reverse chronic disease. I became a health coach just so that I could try and compare the education I was getting with this company, and the education is second to none. So much education that I just wanted to share it with everybody. And what happened was, I do have 3 children, and my daughter was a competitive equestrian, and her dream since she was 5 was to ride Division I, and to do that, it's extremely competitive and costly. And it was a financial strain on my family. But I told her, if you earn it with your grades and your behavior, I'll figure out what to do. And lo and behold, I was sharing this naturally. I picked up the phone and called my colleague and said, since I'm sharing this, is there any way that I don't have to settle and go back to corporate and leave my kids and have someone else raise them? I do not want to settle and leave my children, but I also want to be able to realize their dreams and be able to provide for these big dreams. And I was able to do both. So to be able to have a thriving career in the health and wellness industry, work with these amazing people that I call, they're my family, and you'll hear from them later today. But there is no downside, and the inspiration that I've gained along the way, knowing that I could have a thriving career, but also be there for my family and realize dreams. My daughter ended up realizing her dream, and she's at the University of Tennessee Martin practicing right now, because I was able to provide something for her and not say, no, I can't do this. It just opened up and completely changed the picture of health in my family. My health No more sick care in my family, no more meds, no more sick days, only well checks for the last 10 years for a family of 5. We reversed inflammation, we've reversed chronic illness, allergies, gut issues, and all of these things happened in my family. And whatever this could do for you is brilliant, that it can help heal your body and however you come to this. But what I've learned is getting more plants and a variety into the human body that are readily absorbed will heal every organ in the body and make it work more efficiently. And knowing the way our society is today with our immune support, brain health, gut health, we need as much as we can possibly get to feed our microbiome. The biggest gift I've ever received was when my kids were able to see me on stage and say, "Mom, you did this, and I watched you. I watched you hear no's, and I watched you inspire people and grow team, and I want to be part of this too." So you can have your family join you, and you'll hear from some of mine tonight. But the most incredible feeling is knowing you've helped someone with their health, and then you've inspired someone, and you've also have the ability to grow team, and it's an endless opportunity for us to do good in the world. So to me, I'm so grateful to be part of this and to be able to help the earth in a sustainable way. I'm going to hand this over to Laura Riley. I want you to hear from these brilliant, brilliant women. You will be blown away. So Laura, take it away.
Oh, thanks, Andrea. And I just love hearing your story every time. It just moves me so much. I'm so lucky to know you. Hi, everybody. My name is Laura Riley. I'm from Rentham, Massachusetts, and I'm a sales coordinator. I'm a mom to 3 kids. My oldest is currently a sophomore, thankfully down at the University of South Carolina. I also have a junior in high school and a 7th grader. So Andrea introduced me to Juice Plus maybe 8 or 9 years ago. And at the time, my youngest was only 4, and I couldn't get him to eat a single vegetable. So immediately, Juice Plus made sense to me. We were customers of the product for many years, but it really, what really changed everything for me was I finally accepted
I'm not
one of
getting ready to
Andrea's
do it right
invites.
now. I'm on the Zoom.
To listen to one of a lecture that was happening locally. It was with Dr. Jan Roberto. And Dr. Jan Roberto started off her lecture and she said to us, "We all know that fruits and vegetables are good for us, but fruits and vegetables are actually so good for us, they could save our lives." And I continued listening that night and just taking in everything that she was saying to us. And I realized that night that I had been eating this Juice Plus product and completely taking it for granted. I lost my sister-in-law to cancer in 2009. She was actually diagnosed stage 4 breast cancer when she was only 29 years old. When she lost her battle to cancer, I was terrified, right? Our world was rocked and I was afraid. She had the genetic testing. It was not a gene. I wanted answers. Why did she get sick? And I immediately went to our environment and the toxins. And I started considering, what am I cleaning the countertops with? What am I washing our laundry with, or our dishes? And that was sort of my focus. But in the same time, I was really passionate about funding cancer research. And for 10 years, really active with the Avon Foundation. Myself, Andrea, a group of us actually raised over $500,000 towards cancer research because I really felt as though I needed to make just cancer go away completely. And that would be the safest way to protect my children. But listening to Jan Roberto, I just had this aha moment that maybe there was a different approach. And if we all just focused a little bit more on what we were eating, that maybe we could prevent disease from even starting. And it was that night that I realized, if we have the ability to prevent disease, shouldn't I be shouting this from the rooftops? So it was then that I actually signed on as a Juice Plus rep. I also happen to manage an organic cafe and juice bar, so I see firsthand daily how hard people are trying to fill their bodies with clean, whole foods. And I'm just grateful every day that I know my family has this easy button to that's daily foundation of nutrition. I'm so thankful for the education that I've received from the company. I've actually never been more passionate, and the belief of the healing powers of proper nutrition. And I just feel so lucky to be here. I feel so lucky that my kids have been listening in on these calls for years, that my daughter is off at college sending me pictures of her bright, colorful plates and her smoothies. My picky son, who I couldn't get to eat a single vegetable, decided on his own to become vegan, and he's been tremendously successful with that. So I'm just grateful, and I'm really so thankful that Andrea ever introduced this to me, and I appreciate you guys for listening. So thank you. I'm going to pass this off to Mary.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Andrea, and everyone else for having me on tonight to hear my story. Mary Principe, I'm a registered nurse, and now I'm also a certified health coach with the Dr. Sayers Wellness Institute, which, like Andrea, I wanted to become a coach because even though I'm a nurse, the education that was provided by Juice Plus was so amazing that I decided I needed to learn more. My Juice Plus story started 10 years ago when my grandson overdosed on children's vitamins. That really got my attention. During my 50 years as a nurse, working in various settings and being the mom of 3 daughters, I had never heard of children's vitamins being harmful. Our family then began to look for answers. As a nurse, I had never been exposed to the education that centered around food as a healing modality, not in my various settings that I worked in, not in my doctor's office. Enter Juice Plus, and that began a whole paradigm shift. Once I began to learn how plants reduce inflammation and help balance our immune system at a cellular level, whole food nutrition in a capsule made perfect sense. And knowing that I could get 30 whole plants every day, I had to sign up. Why? Because I had become a victim of the standard American diet, and it showed. I was overweight. I suffered from chronic sinus and bronchitis issues, requiring antibiotics multiple times a year. I had chronic irritable bowel syndrome. I had low energy, brain fog, and very little sleep. Poor sleep. Since adding Juice Plus and complete protein powders, my chronic disease has been eliminated. But then embracing the 10-day shred is what actually really changed my life, my health. 6 years ago, I decided I was going to do the shred because I was headed to my 50-year nursing school reunion, and I wanted to lose some weight. I began doing the shred monthly, and the effect was profound. Now I have more energy, vitality, I sleep better, I have no brain fog, no sinus or bronchitis issues requiring antibiotics. And I have been dealing with sinus and antibiotics and bronchitis my entire adult life, since before I went to nursing school. What a relief it has been for me to not have to depend on these medications. And as Laura pointed out, the education provided by the Juice Plus company is second to none. Learning that the antibiotics and a lot of the medications that we take wreak havoc with our body and oftentimes help us create issues with our bodies that we don't know about. I recently learned that I'm allergic to dairy because of, and I found out that some of the that lactose is in medications that none of my doctors even knew that contained lactose. I found this out on my own, and that's one of the things that Juice Plus has given me, is the ability to research and look deeper and look at what's the root cause of our problems, not just to slap some medication at us. So sharing Juice Plus seemed the right thing for me to do, because as a longtime nurse, I had never heard about this. I was never educated on the value of food as a modality for treatment. And so others needed to learn about it. I felt obligated to give others the opportunity to know what I know. The Juice Plus franchise made perfect sense because I could help others live their best life while offering the same thing to others who are looking for a bigger impact, earning income, and traveling with a virtual office. At one time in my career, I was the director of an adult day health center in Worcester, and we celebrated a big anniversary, and I invited one of my favorite priests at the time to come and talk to our group. And the one thing that he said that I've never forgotten, he said, you know, technology has added years to our life. And I feel that I can truly say that Juice Plus is adding life to our years. And now at 76 years old, I'm moving out of state to another state, and I have lots of energy, vitality, and I feel as though I can bring what I know with me now and share it with as many people who want to listen to me. So all of you who listened to me tonight, thank you very much. And thanks for having me here. Now I'll turn it over to Sue Pierce.
Hello, I'm Sue Pierce. I'm from Massachusetts. I am a wife, a mother. I've got 2 teenage boys and a husband. I'm a retired middle school teacher. I used to teach 7th grade for a few decades. I was introduced to Juice Plus in 2000. Well, let me be real. I was introduced to Juice Plus when I needed it the most. I had a very, very severe health crisis. I'm purposely sitting in front of all of these race medals because this is truly what Juice Plus has done for me. This was not me prior to Juice Plus. I did my first half marathon in 2012. I had a severe health crisis after that. Andrea reached out to me. I had gone to a naturopathic doctor, and he said, you have one of the most severe cases of adrenal fatigue I've ever seen. You need to eat more raw fruits and vegetables than you have ever eaten in your life. Wouldn't you know, Andrea reached out to me with this product, and I said, I don't do vitamins, thank you. I didn't say that to her. I said it in my head. I said, no, thank you, having no idea that this is exactly what I needed. So when she reached out to me again, don't ever give up on people, because when she reached out to me again in 2015, my then 8-year-old was struggling with severe digestive issues. He would be doubled over in pain for years, crying, sobbing that he just wanted to be a normal kid. We knew that it was probably something with his nutrition because he had the most horrendous eating habits ever. So when she reached out again, thank you, Andrea. This time it made sense. I got what it was. I said, oh, I wish I had listened before. We immediately got on. Within 2 weeks, his digestive issues completely cleared up. We know it's the Juice Plus because a month later they returned and we said, wait, what's going on? We thought this was the answer. Come to find out, he had been spitting out his chews and hiding them in the wastebasket in his closet. And at 8 years old, he said, I know that it's because I've been spitting out my Juice Plus that my stomach bothers me again. I'll never miss a day. And so at 8 years old, he learned a very valuable lesson. So he hasn't had digestive issues since. He also had what I was afraid was some sort of mood or personality disorder because he had very, very violent outbursts. At that time, we started on the shakes, and he came home one day and said, can I have a shake? And of course I said yes. And within 5 or 10 minutes, he came right back down and he could verbalize exactly what happened to him. And as a middle school teacher, I have seen kids who have been put on medications that they can never, ever get off of. And I really felt like we dodged a huge bullet. I called my husband with some colorful language and said, holy moly, that's not actually what I said. I said, he does not have a mood disorder. He has a blood sugar issue. He could just explain to me exactly what happened to him. And we have never looked back since. I really feel so blessed because he now is like a totally different kid, and he can express his personality and communicate, and it's just been amazing. So my adrenal fatigue, even though I was in a very, very stressful teaching job, disappeared. My husband had a daily inhaler for over 30 years. He's a triathlete. He does not use his inhaler anymore. We truly had a nutritional breakthrough. You know, we do the shred monthly. This nutrition and doing the shred got me to the healthiest I had ever been in my life. When I got a cancer diagnosis, it was a freak cancer diagnosis that I would have never gotten without Juice Plus. My oncologist didn't even know what to do with me. He said, I have never had a patient who is asking when they can get back to running and when they can get back to water skiing. This was not how I grew up as an athlete. I'm a later in life athlete. So at this point, I'm a 3-time marathoner. I always worried that maybe I would get too old and I wouldn't be able to do these things, but this nutritional breakthrough has just made me stronger and stronger. My whole family, our health has just exploded and snowballed over the years. And my major mission now with the business is, are you ready for a medical emergency? And I was. And because I had this nutrition, my recovery from my cancer diagnosis was absolutely extraordinary. I'm healthier than I've ever been. My new goal is just before my 50th birthday in 2022, I'm going to Disney. I'm doing the Dopey Challenge, which is a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, and a full marathon in 4 days. So this is really the life that Juice Plus has given me. The business has been absolutely phenomenal. I love being able to make an impact, having more time with my family, helping them fulfill their dreams. And this community is just second to none. And the education is just phenomenal. And with that, I will pass the torch on to Jen Mone.
Hi, everybody. So good to see you all here tonight. Sue, that's amazing. Your story is always so inspiring. Thank you, Laura and Andrea and Mary, for your stories too. I'm so honored to be here tonight with all of you. And again, you're just so inspiring. So thank you all. And I love sharing my story too to anybody who will take the time to listen, because it's really profoundly changed how I think about food and how I am educating my children about food. My health journey starts about 8 years ago when my children were 3 and 1.5. My son Liam, he's my older son, he was 3. My son Luca was 1.5. They're both now 9.5 and 11. But at the time, my 3-year-old, he never slept past 4:30 in the morning. He had a lot of energy, and he didn't nap during the day. And my younger son had chronic ear infections and eczema. And it was at that time that I decided to put Liam in a preschool program 2 mornings a week because he had so much energy. He was so super social. And my younger son needed to sleep. And so he entered preschool at 3. And a couple of months later, my husband and I went to our first parent-teacher conference as parents. And we walked in, and the teacher sat us down, and she said, Liam has all the signs and symptoms of ADHD. There's a support group down the street. I've already let them know that you may be reaching out to them. And she kept talking, and all I could hear was, womp, womp, womp. I was just thinking to myself, she's making it sound like there's something wrong with my son. And that's the worst thing that a parent can feel. And I didn't know a lot about ADHD at the time. I'm an older mom. I had Liam at 41. I had Luca at 42. And none of my friends at the time had kids, so I really didn't know a lot about ADHD. And as I look back on that day, as difficult as it was, I realize now it was the biggest gift I've ever received, because I became a mom on a mission. And the first thing I did that day is I went home, I locked myself in my bedroom, and I said to my husband, don't come in until I'm done. And I started researching and going down these rabbit holes. And the two things I learned the most that day was, in terms of behavioral issues with ADHD, lack of sleep and diet are the two biggest components of why children may have ADHD symptoms. And I had already known Liam never slept. He never slept past 4:30. He never napped. And so I spent a lot of time sleep training him, but then I really turned my focus on his diet. And again, I grew up with a nurse as a mom, and we didn't have junk food in our house, and I thought that we ate healthy. But I spent a lot of time going through our pantry and reading the ingredients, and I became an ingredient fanatic. And I threw everything in the cupboard, and I went out and I started shopping. And I spent so much time and money at the grocery store and reading labels, and I started making all of our food from scratch. And it was very time consuming and pretty exhausting. And what happened is, right after I started doing that, that's when Juice Plus came into my life. And it was the biggest gift, because it was exactly what I was looking for. Food, whole food, raw nutrition in a capsule or chew. And the thing that I loved most about it was that there was so much education behind it. The research was absolutely second to none. I felt so comfortable giving it to my kids. And the other thing that I learned so much through the education and Juice Plus is the gut-brain connection, and how you cannot have a healthy brain without having a healthy gut. And this now is absolutely the foundational nutrition for my entire family. I will never, ever let my family go a day without it. Fast forward to when Liam was 9, I did have him evaluated, and he was diagnosed with ADHD. And he's come so far, and I'm so proud of him, and I'm so grateful for our omegas. He will now wake up in the middle of the night and he falls right back to sleep. And for anyone who's ever gone through the challenge of having a child not sleep, it's the best gift you can ever receive. And not only that, right at that time that all of that was happening, my husband was diagnosed with high blood pressure. Surprisingly, I wonder why. So he was diagnosed with high blood pressure, and his doctor put him on medication. And a couple of weeks later, he called me on his way home from work. He had to pull over because he was so dizzy. And he said, I can't take this medication anymore. I'm calling my doctor tomorrow to tell her that I'm not taking it. So he did that, and she gave him a very, very difficult time. She was very concerned that he was not going to be able to reverse his blood pressure just using Juice Plus and food and doing it in a natural way. So he started doubling up. And the other thing that we started at that time was the Shred 10 program. After 4 months, his numbers were back to normal, and his doctor was flabbergasted. She didn't know what he was doing. That was 8 years ago. And every year she runs his numbers and takes his blood pressure, and she just can't believe that it's a normal range. And then last year she was retiring, and she said to him, whatever it is that you're doing, keep doing it, because I've never seen someone's blood pressure stay so stable for so long without being on blood pressure medication. So when you start flooding your family with this kinds of nutrition, and you see how it's changed your life, it is so difficult. It's almost unethical to not share with other people. When you see what this nutrition can do for you and your family, and you see all those kids out there with ADHD and they're struggling, it breaks your heart. And you know, people have high blood pressure and people with cancer. We have a solution, and we have to share it. And I'm probably going over my time, so I'm going to pass it back to you, Andrea. But thank you so much for everybody listening and letting me share tonight.
Okay, everybody, how inspired. Just give me one of these if you're feeling inspired right now. And I just want to share and close this out that if I didn't share from my heart, I would have never touched their lives and affected their families the way my family's life has changed and the things I've been able to experience from a health standpoint, from realizing my daughter's dream, from becoming not settling. I just didn't want to settle. And this business allows you to have it all. You can be the mom you want to be. You can have a thriving career and go help with homework and get dinner ready and get to practice and games and do all the stuff that you want to do. And your life can be so full. But when you help another person with their health and then help a teammate with their finances and they can do the same, it's such a win-win. And I never really thought that you could have it all until I started experiencing it with this company. And there is something going on in the world right now, and that's isolation. And isolation is very detrimental to a human's health and their mindset. So what this community is doing from a community standpoint, gathering people together, sharing education, working with team, working with people, helping people get healthy, we are making a huge impact in bringing communities together. Right now we're going through a tough time with the viruses and things like that, but even aside from that, technology is pulling us away. So what we're doing from a community standpoint is also just amazing. So I just want to thank you all for joining us tonight, listening to our incredible, inspiring stories. And if I didn't share with my team, I would just be helping a small group of people. But because my team has joined me, we're now throwing that pebble into the water and rippling out. And that's really what we want to do, is just reach as many people as we can so that they can have the gift of health and the gift of time freedom and financial freedom for their lives as well. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. Love seeing your faces, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you, Carol.
You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you sharing. We are here every Thursday with our Healthy Living events, so make sure you tune in next week. Thank you guys so much.